guys, and welcome to a brand new episode of Sipping Tea with Suzanne. I am the fabulous Positively Suzanne, and I am so excited to be here once again with another phenomenal guest. Today I have with me the lovely Teranie. How are you? Yay! So
I made it on the show.
You did, and we're live and in person.
Yes.
So I'm so excited about that. I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh.
So we're gonna have some fun today talking. But before we jump into it, I want to highlight my sponsors. So first, let me highlight Life Garden Cafe. They are a space sponsor. Thank you for the fabulous space. So if you are not familiar with them, they're located at 1048 Main Street in Worcester. You have to visit. The ambiance, the decor, everything is fantastic. And then when you get to the food and the service, spot on. So it's a great place to have lunch, to have a meeting, or to host an event. So please contact them anytime. And my second sponsor is Paul Anderson Photography. If you're looking to capture those special moments, weddings, funerals, barbecues, graduation pictures, prom pictures, or your real estate need, please contact him. He does some phenomenal pictures. So Life Garden Cafe and Paul Anderson Photography. Thank you all so much for tuning in every week, live at 5 for a brand new episode. We will be on hiatus in July and August, but we will be back in September. But in the meantime, we have about 5-6 weeks left because we have 2 weeks in May and like 4 in June.
Yeah.
So yes, but in the meantime,
Summer's here.
Yeah, gonna have I don't know what kind of summer we're gonna have, but we're gonna have a summer.
We're gonna have a great summer.
We're gonna have I was gonna say a hot girl summer, but I don't know.
I love it.
New England might be cold, so
Yeah.
yes. So I am so excited. So Miss Teranie Tirado. So there's so much about you. I was reading your bio, and there is so much that you do, and that's one of the reasons why I love this platform. That I'm able to have women like you, I have men too, on the show, and just really highlight, just some of the things that you do. And, because sometimes people see us and they just don't realize like everything that we're a part of. I learned something, new yesterday. So if you notice, I put like, I can't wait to talk to this boss babe.
Yes.
I was like, I wonder if she caught that.
Were you in my Facebook group, the Boss Babe Tribe?
No, I read it in your bio.
Yes,
I was like, I didn't know this.
Yeah.
So there was just so many things, because like first I knew about you were a realtor, and that's it. But there was just so much more to what you do. So first of all, and you also do a show. I was on your show, and thank you for that. The platform, the opportunity to chat with you and just really talk about what drove me. I appreciated that opportunity to shine the spotlight on my life. And I was like, all right, now the tables are turned. I get to interview you. So, so I know you're not in Worcester now, but originally you were in Worcester, and you're out of Worcester now. So tell me what that's like not like being from Worcester, but not being in Worcester, and then visiting Worcester so often that I still think you're in Worcester.
Yeah, so, Worcester I have been living here since 1995. Yeah. So, several decades living here. Yeah. And this is the first place that I moved to, that my mom moved to as a single mom, raising 2 kids. From Puerto Rico. She moved here to Worcester.
Puerto Rico in the house.
Yeah, we arrived with our suitcase, and that was it.
Yes, that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
And so we came here. We had nothing. We literally stayed on a family member's couch, like a long distance aunt's couch. And then from there, we built. We eventually got an apartment. She eventually got a car. She became a janitor, and so I learned a lot, of how to overcome struggle through my mom, because I watched how she did it. And Worcester, I know like every street in Worcester. I have so many memories here, all different parts. Like I look at, where Sullivan Middle is. That's where I went to school. Old Worcester Vogue. That's where I went to high school. I studied at Columbus Park Elementary and Canterbury Street School. And so I have a City View school. Like I have really...
You're from the woo.
Yeah, totally. My mom had her first business on Main Street, right out the Clark University shops. And then eventually, 5 years after being here, she bought her first 3-decker. And so proud of my mom for that.
Yes.
She, on a janitor salary, she bought a 3-decker. And she was able to do that. She was able to pay it off in 15 years. And now You know, she rents it out to people and stuff. And so there's so much here. A lot of my friends are here, business partners, a lot of my network is here. So I feel like Worcester is always going to be a part of my life no matter where I go. And I do a lot of traveling. You know, I go to different parts of the world and stuff, but like Worcester's just like, home. This is home. You know, I have Puerto Rico. That's also my home. You know, but Worcester is my home. That's where I grew up. And so, you know, I have a residence in Andover, but I also have a residence here. And you know, I co-own properties here with my mom. And, you know, I still have a home here. So, you know, I'm in and out of the city all the time. My parents live here. And, you know, my nieces, my nephews are here, things like that. And so, yeah, I'm here. I'm just not here 24/7.
But you're here.
But I'm here. I'm here, yes.
You know, so it's funny. Before the show, we were talking, and you were talking about your mom owning property in Worcester, and I didn't know that part of her story. And, you know, we're highlighting you, but how inspiring is your mom, like coming from, you know, Puerto Rico and with a suitcase, and you just working and save. They could save.
Ooh,
they could save. We need to shop less, girl.
Yes, my mom can save money.
Save.
She's a big saver. But yeah, I mean, her story to me is so empowering to me, because I wouldn't be where I am without God, first and foremost.
Amen.
All my glory,
give glory to God.
Always to God.
Yeah.
But my mom, you know, the human here on earth, has been guiding me and showing me how to overcome obstacles since I was little. And, you know, when she felt like, you know, we needed to come here, and her purpose of coming here was for me to succeed. You know, as a mom, you know, and I'm a mom myself, like, you do these things to help your children succeed so they do better than you. And that's what she did for me. And so moving here, her goal was simply for me to be here and have the resources that I needed to succeed. Her dream was to see me go to college, which I did. I ended up graduating from 3 universities. And, you know, had 3 college degrees, including a master's degree.
You go, girl.
And it was not easy.
No.
when my friends were partying and going out and stuff, I was studying. It was a hard choice to make when you're in your 20s and you see everybody going out and having fun and all this stuff. I had to be very limited and very strict with myself, very disciplined on what I did, because I knew I had those goals. And for me, I felt like my mom made such a huge sacrifice for me to leave her family and her mom to come here for me, that I couldn't let the ball drop. You know, I felt like I had a responsibility to my family to succeed. And so that drives me, you know, that to me is a really important thing. I did that more in honor of her, you know, but also going to college. I know not everyone is pro college, but going to college, what it taught me was that I could do anything. I could do the most challenging thing. I could take the hardest calculus class and I will ace that class. I would take, you know, when I was doing my master's, I was taking 6 classes at a time, and I finished my master's in 1 year while working a full-time job and raising children.
Oh my.
It was hard.
Of course it was.
Hard.
Of course it was.
It was very hard.
That was insane.
It was insanity. It was insanity.
Yeah.
You know, I would go to bed at 2 in the morning studying and wake up at 6 a.m. to go to work, you know, come home, deal with the kids, study at night, take classes at night. All this stuff, right, that people don't know. All the work I have put into becoming who I am today. But I will tell you that it has paid off.
It has.
All the work I spent from the year 2000, 2004, I started college, and I finished in my early 30s. So it took me almost a decade to accomplish everything. But the journey of who you become is really what I value the most. You know, the person that I had to become, the discipline that I had to have, and the belief in myself, like I can overcome this obstacle, I can overcome that class, I can do that project, I can do anything that is thrown at me and succeed at it. And I graduated with a 4.0 GPA. So You know,
Yes.
it was
Yes.
not easy.
Yes.
Like I said, it was not easy.
I'm sure it wasn't.
Painful, a lot
Yes.
of tears, a lot of
Sacrifice. Yeah.
for sure. But today I could say, man, Teranie, I could look in the mirror and say, you did the hard work. You're still doing the hard work,
Yeah.
you know? And it builds this confidence in yourself, and it builds this resilience in yourself, that anytime you face something hard, you're like, look at all the things I overcame already with God and with my will to like work hard at it, and with my belief that I can do it. That's all you need. You need God and the belief that you can do it, and you can do anything. And you're only going to see that when you put it to practice.
Absolutely.
Right? And so that, throughout all of that, I was working a full-time job and also running a business. One of my first businesses was photography. So I owned a photography business.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
For those OG that have been following me for a long time, you guys know.
Yeah.
You know, I have some followers that have been following me for a long time, and they know I own a photography business.
Yeah.
For 5 years, I became a published photographer. I will tell you, I sucked at first.
Okay.
I sucked really bad at first, and like with anything, you're gonna suck at first.
You are.
It's gonna be rough, but
Yeah.
I sharpen my skills.
You do.
Right? You keep sharpening. You keep learning. Taking classes. I learned
Growing.
Photoshop, Lightroom. I
Yeah.
learned how to take better pictures. And eventually, I was doing about $50,000 a summer in weddings.
Wow.
And then I became an international photographer. And then I was published in Bride and Groom magazine
Wow.
among dozens of publications.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you.
I
But
like my pictures taken. So
yeah, I love photography. It's
That's
a form of
awesome.
art, and I
Yeah.
really like creativity and art.
yeah.
And so that's why I chose that. What inspired me to do that was my baby at the time, which was
Yeah.
my son, my oldest son. He's the one that inspired me. But, you know, what I learned through that journey of photography, again, it was something that I knew nothing about. I didn't go to school for that, you know, but I said, this is what I want to pursue. I want to do this. And then I just dove right in, like head first.
You
All
have
right,
to.
what do I got to learn? And just every time I sucked at something or wasn't good at it, you know, I just took that as a learning opportunity.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I could become better. And towards the end of it, I was really proud of what I accomplished. I learned a lot about business, which set the platform. I always say everything in your journey sets the platform for the next thing. It's like a stepping stone. So all the business stuff that I learned with that business, I then took and started, I started a tea business. We got tea here.
Let's sip some tea. What?
I started
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had a tea business.
All right. Okay.
And that was amazing.
Tell me about it.
I had a tea business. I loved it because
Yeah.
I focused a lot on fitness and health and like
Okay.
this, you know, tea that's really good for your body. And then that business grew. I established a clientele again because people know like I'm a businesswoman. You know, it doesn't matter what type of business I'm going to do. I'm going to work hard at it. And so it was very easy for me to establish that business. It became successful. It grew, all of that. And then shortly after the pandemic, I decided to stop. And I said, all right, I'm ready for my next adventure. And real estate was what came, you know, to my
Okay.
mind and to my lap. And, you know, it was someone that, honestly, God uses people around you to take you down your path. And there was this person that I didn't even know that reached out to me online from the community and said, hey, you should come to this wealth building event. And I said, all right, I'll go, you know. I was like, I don't know this person, but I'm going to go, right?
Take a leap.
Saying yes to things, like I say yes to things because I'm always like, what if that's God?
Yes.
What if that's God inviting me?
Absolutely.
Right? And he's using people, right?
But he does.
He does.
He
And I'm a
does.
firm believer in that. So I
Yeah.
said, this random person asked me this, you know what? I'm going to go.
Yeah.
I went, I learned about real estate. I said, I want to do it.
Yeah.
And I went, I started studying for my exam. I spent a whole summer studying for that exam, hardcore, and got my real estate license, you know, opened up my business, started promoting, and, you know, now, I mean, my pipeline is very, very, very big, and I'm able to be connected with a lot of people. I'm focusing on minorities. That's my biggest thing. You know, I saw how real estate changed my mom's life. I saw how it changed my life when I was a first-time home buyer, and I purchased my first property, and I sold it, and I made the profit. And seeing that $100,000 check, you know, you're like, whoa, with my name on it, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
Right? And it was so exciting, and I'm like, wow, this is so easy.
Yeah.
Like, you could just buy property and, like, update it and then make a huge check.
You can.
You can. So that was so exciting for me, and then I wanted to teach people how to do that. I said, there's so many people that are struggling financially, and there's this tool that can totally help them, right? You buy a house, you know, you buy a house that's, you know, just needs some updates. You update it yourself. That's what my husband and I did. We ripped up the rugs, we painted the walls, we did all these minor updates ourselves.
You know, your mom for laying that foundation, for you seeing that at such a young age, you know, her coming here and her drive and not, you know, say woe is me, and just really pushing and saving and, you know, purchasing real estate, because those sometimes is unheard of. Because, you know, sadly, so, like the immigrant, you know, we work very hard. I'm an immigrant, you know, and, you know, we work very hard. But, you know, like sometimes, you know, they work and they pay bills. They work and they pay bills. They work and they pay bills.
There's no strategy.
They don't see a way out for her. So her having that foresight to do that, and you learning from that, you know, that's amazing. You know, my mom is similar. Like, I give credit to my mom. You know, she left her kids, you know, when she came here, like she went to Canada and, you know, came here to build a better life, and, you know, had to make a lot of sacrifices. So kudos to those mamas who had to make really tough decisions, you know, to uproot themselves in their life and send for us, and, you know, kind of laying that foundation for us. And
thank you.
You know, you're welcome. And one thing you mentioned consistently is, you know, about being determined, you know, being dedicated. You have to have a drive, you know, because if you're not, it's just like, if you're not focused, if you're not committed, if you're not disciplined, you know, it's not going to happen. Because it's like, you'll give up. Like I said, it was hard. You were going to school, you were a mom, you know, you were working, like, it's all of that. Like, that is the perfect storm to say, I'm out.
And you know, I'm still doing it. I'm still doing all the things I just said.
Because you're used to it, right?
I'm
and
used
you like
to
it.
it.
You enjoy it.
I do.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I you know, people don't really know that what we were saying off camera was that I am not just doing real estate. Like, I do a lot of other things that I don't talk about on social media and on camera.
We don't talk about it today,
but, you know, we can talk about it today.
Because, like, I didn't know. So I don't, you know, I don't know how I got connected to you. You know, it's just like last year I made once I stepped out of the corporate sphere, you know, I made a concentrated effort to go out and network, and I got connected to. And once I did that, you know, I got connected to so many people that I love to see what they were doing, and so I do a lot of positive motivation and empowering thing. And I kid you not. Like, the universe, like, pops up. Like, once you start searching for motivational, empowering thing, it start popping people in my feed. So it's funny. I was in Miami last year, and somebody was like, how Instagram is, like, very, like, sexual and pornographic, and I was like, really? Like,
that's not what comes up on my feed.
And that's what I said. I was like, really? I said, I don't see that.
Yeah, not on my feed.
Like, she's like, I said, I genuinely don't see that. She was like, oh my God, Instagram is awful. I was like, really? Like, I'm not. And she was like, give me your phone. I was like, no. Like, because I was like, wait, it might have something to do with the things that you look at, the things that you watch. Because I was like, all I get is God quotes and motivation and inspiration and fashion and now tea. So I was like, maybe it's what you search for. So whatever you put out, it will come back to you. So you popped up.
Oh, thank you. What you focus on expands.
It
Literally,
does.
remember that quote.
It does.
What you focus on expands, and you'll get more of it.
Absolutely.
So wherever you're looking, if you're looking at your problem, then you're going to get more of that. if you're looking at the solution, you're going to get more of that. If you're looking at empowerment, you're going to get more of that. The energy, God, universe, whatever people want to call it, it's going to attract whatever you are focusing on.
Absolutely.
So my thing is, if I cannot fix that problem right this second, I will create a game plan for it, but then I'm not going to focus on the problem.
No.
I'm going to focus on the solution.
Absolutely.
And then I'm going to be proactive and focus on my goals.
Absolutely.
Right? And so that's really what has helped me a lot. But yeah, I mean, I do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
I actually just, so, you know, I oversee this company, you know, that has 60 employees.
I didn't know that. Like,
And
you were telling me.
a lot
like,
of people don't know this. I do their payroll and all of that. And so anyways, one of the managers came to me and they were like, hey, you're famous. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, he showed me a picture. He's like, your photo is on a big poster at Staples. And I'm like, oh, right, because I work on all these different projects.
Oh, wow.
And I never know where my photo's going to end up.
Yes.
So, like, my photo was, like, on the side of a bridge down here on Shrewsbury.
Oh, wow.
And somebody, like, sent me a picture.
I have to go see.
I don't know if it's there. I never got around to go there, but I have a picture of it.
Okay.
And when Worcester did the Faces of Worcester project,
Yes.
my face was on the bridge.
Oh, I love that.
And then today, you know, one of the managers was like, hey, you're at, you know, Staples in Swampscott near Boston.
Oh,
Your
I
big
love that.
poster.
I love that.
And then someone else messaged me like a month ago, hey, you're at the Atlanta airport on a poster. I'm like, oh, cool. And then someone else is like, you're in North Carolina.
Oh, my goodness. I
So
love
my
that.
face is like popping up everywhere.
It's surreal though.
It's
like,
so surreal.
Like, you're just doing you and you're like, you're working your grind.
Yeah.
And then, like, folk
I'm just
recognize.
hustling. And
You know, because
Yeah.
it's like, it's always a surreal moment when somebody says, like, you're positively Suzanne. And I'm like, yes. And I'm like, how do you know me? And then, like, let's say, oh, I listen to your podcast or I watch your show. And I'll do, like, in New York. And I'm like, people recognize me in New York. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
So, but you know,
Yeah.
you are making an impact. You are making
Thank
a
you.
difference. And, you know, I'm so happy that started following you and then we connected and then I was on your
you.
show. And just to see so much of the things that you do, they're so similar and aligned to the things that I do. And I love that because I think that, you know, if we're all focused on promoting positivity, if we're all focused on promoting empowerment and
Yes.
helping each other and educating and teaching, because, you know, one of my favorite quotes is by Maya Angelou, as you learn, teach.
Yes.
You have to teach
Yes.
because it's kind of like, it's not gimme, like, let just me alone understand this real estate game. Teach it to your communities. Focus on, you know, immigrants who don't realize that, you know, yes, like, what are the steps I can take to become a homeowner versus
Exactly.
just consistently paying rent. And, you know, I'm looking at what's happening, you know, folks are getting eviction notice and things like that. Because it's like, who can pay $3,000 for rent?
Yeah, and
I can't.
yeah,
I don't want to.
It's definitely a challenge, especially for minorities, because
Yes.
we are, as minorities, right? We were suppressed for a long time, and we did not have the knowledge or access to the information for a long time, and so generations, right, of minorities didn't have access to the things that are available today. And so information, knowledge is literally power. When you arm somebody up with all the knowledge that they need, they are able to change generations, right? All it takes is just teaching it to one person, and they'll
Absolutely.
change your whole lineage. So I focus on having a podcast, having a YouTube channel. I do my live videos. I do my Instagram videos. And all of this stuff is very time consuming.
Of course.
It takes energy. It takes me getting dressed
Girl.
up and glammed up. It's effort. It's literal.
I know.
You know.
I know, because it's kind of like, it's, you know, it's like sometimes I'm like, just roll. No, I don't want to roll out of bed and just in my PJ with my hair in my bonnet, you know, like do
Yeah.
a video. But like sometimes like, oh, you don't put out the videos as much as you can because sometimes I'm go in the morning
Yes.
and I don't have the opportunity like to do the video and things like that. But it's a lot of work,
Yeah.
you know, doing the podcast, doing the show, doing lives, doing a quick video. But it's so essential though.
Yes,
It's so important.
I do it because I feel like if God has poured so much into me, And if God has given me the knowledge, the wisdom, the tools, the resources, the people, the network,
Absolutely.
right? I don't want to hoard that.
No.
I feel like blessings should flow through you,
Absolutely.
not stop with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If I'm a Christian, you know, I really believe that if God is blessing you, that is for you to bless others.
Absolutely.
Right? And so for me, knowledge. I'm like, I want to pour my brain out and just have it so people can access it and they could say, oh, I needed this. I needed that. I needed this encouragement. I needed that resource. I needed that tool. I needed that information. And that changes the whole community, right? And all it took effort on my part.
A lot.
But the benefits for the community are so worth it.
No,
you know,
absolutely.
that I just keep doing it. And I do it whether I get paid or not. I just do it. Because you don't get paid to make videos.
A lot of the times I don't get paid. Like a
Yeah.
lot of the times, and and so I do the speaking. A lot of times people will say to me like, hey, like I don't speak if I don't get paid. I was like, yeah, I'm not Oprah. I'm not Barack Obama.
I'm not.
One day I'll be there.
I'm not Beyonce.
I mean, we think we are, right? But you know what though? I
Yeah.
like speaking at events.
Yes.
Somebody says, I'm doing an empowerment workshop. I'm doing this for somebody. Like, yes, I'll do it. And I'm not saying there's certain institution that I do charge a fee, and a very hefty fee, because
Yeah.
still got to pay my bills, right?
Yeah.
But, there's certain institutions and things like that they ask me to speak. I do speak because, you're right. One person can change the entire lineage of an entire family.
Yes.
Building generational wealth. Like your mother
Yes.
shifted it,
Yeah.
and you're continuing to build on that.
Yes.
And I believe that, the saying, like, so you're the one that started talking Bible, girl. So, when God was giving out talent and that guy that got the one and he buried it, God took it away. So it's kind of like as God gives us these things, you are supposed to be a blessing.
Yes.
And one last thing, because y'all got me into my quotes and all of that. Like, if you teach a man to fish, if you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. But if you teach him to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime.
Yes.
And that's what we have to get into, that mindset.
Yes.
When you learn and you teach, you're empowering others to do the same thing.
Yes.
And you build a bigger legacy. Because even if they don't remember your name, somebody will, oh, that girl, or,
Yes.
like whatever, you've changed. And even if nobody knows but you, you know that versus hoarding it for yourself. Like, who is it benefited?
Exactly. And I feel like I don't gatekeep, I share everything, even with other realtors.
It's
I
out there.
Other realtors have asked me, hey, what are your tips for social media? I see that you're doing really well, and and I'm an open book. I'll be like, hey, do this, this, and this. Do this, this, and this. Like, hey, wanna do a one-on-one? I'll do a one-on-one with you. Like, I am I'm very giving, and I feel like as a Christian person, that's how we should all be. Like, always looking to help each other out, because at the end of the day, this is our community, right? So selfishness does not help anybody. It hurts the community. But if you help someone level up and that person can now start a business, that business is now servicing the community, you know who's benefiting? You are. Your kids are. Your family is, right? So like it's an ecosystem. And so when everybody can realize that we are an ecosystem.
We are.
And the more that we support each other, the more that ecosystem thrives, right? When we thrive, we level up our entire generation, our culture, minorities. We all level up when we do that. But when we're hoarding information, it hurts us.
It does.
And we're already, like I said, a little behind, because other races,
Systemic racism.
systemic racism, right?
It is what it is.
But now we're at a point that we can no longer blame that, because we have the internet. We have the tools, we have the resources. So we can no longer say, oh, because of X, Y, and Z. No, now we have the tools, right? We just got to link arms, and we just got to get it done.
We got to do it together.
We got to do it together, right? A lot of people say, for example, in real estate, oh, the rates are high. The houses are high. They are. But are you going to let that stop you?
No.
Are you going to hold back the wealth that your family could be earning right now because of a point, because of a 2 or 3%, where you're paying, when if you really think about it, you're paying 20% on a credit card, right? Credit card rates are usually
26.8.
26.8.
Oh my goodness.
So
I saw one. I was like, ooh.
26.8 on credit cards, right?
Yeah.
So people have to shift the mindset of don't let media and the news put you in a fear state where you're stuck and not moving, right? You're stuck and not moving because of what the news is saying, right? Because of a 2 or 3% situation where really first you can buy down the points.
You can?
You can buy down the point. You can buy down that interest rate and still get your 3% or 4% or whatever it is you want to get. You can buy it down. But people don't talk about that. They're stuck on the problem. They're stuck on, oh, the news is saying this.
This is more dramatic.
Because it's more, exactly.
It's more dramatic. It's clickbait.
And
it's
it's easier. It's easier
to
for
fall into that
people to
trap.
say, I'm not going to level up. I'm not going to buy a house. I'm not going to do this because of this problem, right? Because the house is too much. But what I will tell you is I work with a lot of minorities, and there's people buying every day.
They are.
There's people buying every day.
Believe me, I had a client that put an offer, like there was like so many other offers, like they didn't get it because there's so many, like people are buying.
People are buying. Regardless of what the rates are, regardless of what the market looks like, at the end of the day, babies are born every day. People are growing their families. You know, mom maybe has to move in. You need an extra bedroom.
Yeah.
Or maybe the kids are moving out and you want to downsize.
Yeah.
Like maybe you're getting divorced, right? And you need to sell the house and you need to buy a different house. Like real estate is going to continue to move.
Absolutely.
The only people that are listening to the news are the people that fall into the fear trap. You know, because there are options. There are options. And like I said, if you look at the grand picture, if you are paying 20% on a credit card, 25% on a credit card, why wouldn't you pay 6 or 7% on a house? You know?
Well, they don't think that.
They don't think in those terms.
They don't, you know.
Yes.
I try. I mean, it comes down to education. You know,
Yes.
when I hold like the first-time home buyers class, I explain and like, you know, I see a lot of clients call me, you know, off the internet. They'll get my info off the internet, and you know, they'll call me, and you know, I'm very open. And I said, you know what, and speak to another lender. I said, speak to another lender. I have no problem speaking. You know, speak to another lender and see if they're telling you the same thing. But I said, here's the bottom line. You're telling me you're paying $2,400 for rent. Let's figure out how to get you into a home. Get a condo, get something small, and get a starter home or something like that, because the rent is gonna, once that lease expires, the rent is gonna go up. There is no equity you're building in that. Like there's no return on your investment. Or you know, before you like wait, it says let's wait, and then you get desperate, and then you call me and it's like, okay, let's get me a house now.
Oh yeah.
Let's look at where we are first. Let's fix what we need to fix before we get to the actual thing. But you're right, they're listening to the news, who, you know, honestly, it's all clickbait.
It is all clickbait.
They want you to click on this thing,
yes.
And then sometimes you read it, it's absolutely nonsense, or it's just the same thing that's in the headline. Like you'll read it down to the bottom, and all they do is regurgitate. It's like, oh, in 2008, you know, during the crash, and then like they just regurgitate these stories. But you clicked on it, and now you're in panic. And then you talk to this other person who says, you know, oh, don't buy now.
Yep.
Talk to an expert. Like,
yes. Then you got the people, right? You're going to find the people that are going to validate what you're saying.
Yeah.
And so negativity loves negativity.
Absolutely.
Right? I look at it like, listen, if you have a goal, you can accomplish that goal.
Absolutely.
You know, the situation, what I've seen a lot of my clients do that are buying is they're pooling their money. You know, I'm not really seeing people buy houses completely on their own anymore. Right? Before, like when I bought my house, I bought it on my own.
Yeah.
Right? That was in 2014, 15, something like that. But now what I'm seeing is, you know, I had a client, she moved in with her dad and her mom for a whole year. And she saved her entire paycheck for a whole year.
That's awesome.
And then her parents matched what she saved. Between the both of them, they had close to $100,000. And then she picked a condo in a very small town that was not popular, but a nice condo.
Yeah.
You know, and her rent was like $800 a month.
And if you drive, you're good. Like, you know, I think, and that's awesome.
And this person,
that's awesome.
You know, has a really good salary. Like they were making close to 6 figures, you know, so really good salary. But they knew, they're like, I don't need the luxuries. I don't need the mansion. I
No.
just want to save money and be good with my money.
Absolutely.
And that's how, and this was a young person in their 20s, and this is how they bought their home in this market, was because they were very strategic. They were like, Teranie, find me the town that has the cheapest houses. I don't care if I got to drive there.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes people want to stay stuck.
Yeah.
And I tell them, hey, Worcester, Boston, very popular towns.
Absolutely.
Very popular, especially Worcester's up and coming.
It is, because
Right?
Boston's moving to Worcester.
Because Boston's moving this way. So what does that mean? Worcester prices are going to keep rising.
Yes.
Now, if your goal is to buy a house, you have to decide, does living in Worcester, is that the priority, or is you buying a house the priority? And if you want both, what are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to get a second job to pay for that mortgage? You know, what you have to sacrifice somewhere, right? And so that's what I try to help people see. Like when it comes to real estate, you know, there are 3 factors. It's the location, the condition of the house, and how much it's worth. What are you willing to sacrifice? If you don't have Beyonce money, because that's I'm honest
Girl,
with
do you
people.
see the house that she just bought? Okay.
If you do not have Beyonce money,
100 million.
then you have to sacrifice somewhere, right? It's
Yeah.
either going to be the location or the size of the house or the condition of the house. It might have to be a fixer-upper.
Yeah.
You might need to, you know, roll
Yeah.
up your sleeves and do some work in that house. But the thing is that people, not everyone, but sometimes people want to focus on the unrealistic, and they want to say, oh, I don't have an option. No, you do have options.
You do.
You are choosing unrealistic options.
Yeah.
And there's a difference.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? People ask me, oh, what are some really good towns? Hey, Fitchburg?
Yeah.
Fitchburg, I went to a community in Fitchburg where it was brand new built. Everything, every house in that
Yeah.
whole community, beautiful community, brand new, 2-car garage, 3-bedroom house, 2 floors, brand new appliances, granite countertops, you name it. It
They
had
had
all
it.
the bells and whistles,
Wow.
under $400,000.
Yeah. I've seen some. And then I look at the Worcester prices, but girl, we could talk about real estate all day.
You know what I'm saying? And,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, check out Fitchburg.
Yeah.
But you try to get that
Yeah.
in Worcester,
You can't.
it's going to be pricier.
You
It's-
can't.
You know, you can get it, but it's going to be.
Absolutely. Sometimes significantly more. And you
Yeah.
know what? We're gonna have to continue to do what we do. We have to continue to educate. We're gonna have to talk. We have to
Yes.
continue to be open and honest with folks. And you know, like I said, to start a home or finding a town or
Yeah.
moving in with your parents for a year and like doing what you
Right,
have
there's
to
a
do.
sacrifice
There
there.
are definitely things, and you mentioned it, in the beginning in terms of the sacrifices that you had to make in order to achieve, what you achieve. And it's funny because sometimes people look at you like, you're successful, and like they see that.
Yeah, they only
don't
see the end product.
They see the end product. They don't see like what led up to it,
What
like
led to that.
the sweat, the tears, the exhaustions, the sleepless night.
Yes.
I talk about, like when I was going back to school to get my master's, like, I talked about like I kept falling asleep driving. Like that was I mean,
Very real.
I had to do something like about that. But it was
Yeah.
like these were like the sacrifices like they were making. So it was like,
Yeah.
I would say it takes 20 years to become an overnight success, right?
Yes, yes. I was literally telling my daughter the other day,
Yeah.
because she's talking to me about her goals. She wants a new car as a teenager for high
My
school,
daughter
all that,
does
right?
too, yeah.
So we're talking about it, and I told her, I was like, I remember when I got my first car,
Yeah.
and it was in college. I
Yeah.
didn't have a car in high school, and that car cost $1,000. It was
Yeah.
a Volkswagen Jetta. It was, that's what could be afforded.
That's what could be afforded,
right?
yes.
And so that car did not function when it snowed.
Oh.
And it didn't drive uphill.
Okay.
So, and the doors didn't close.
Okay.
So I had a rope tying the doors together
Oh, gee, girl.
and no heat.
So you had a struggle car.
Yeah, it was a real hoopty.
Oh, wow.
And I remember driving to college because, my first college was Anna Maria College up here in
You just didn't go up any hills.
it was a hill. It was a hill, but it would just go really slow.
Okay.
It would go really slow, and I'm like, this is what I got.
This-
So the cars would be passing me, and
Oh.
I'm like, well, this is what I got.
That-
So this is what's going to get me to college.
Yes.
And then I would drive to my job. I had
Yes.
like 6 jobs at the time,
Oh my.
trying to pay for college. That school was $32,000 a year at the time.
Yeah.
I was paying all that on my own, you know, all of that. My
Yeah.
parents didn't pay for my schooling, you know, none of it. So, you know, my mom's like, you got to go to college and you got to finance it.
All right.
And I was like, all right.
Okay.
I was applying for scholarships,
Yeah.
you know, doing all the essays, like
Yeah.
putting in the work,
Yeah.
you know. And that's the part, like, people see the highlights.
Oh, they
but
do.
They do not see the struggle.
Yeah.
It's been a struggle. It's been a struggle, but
Nothing's easy.
nothing's easy. I say, you know what? I'm putting in the work. I
Yeah.
know God has my back.
Yeah.
And in the end, this is all a journey.
It is.
This is all a journey, and I'm learning through the journey. It's like God is chiseling me and molding me into what He wanted me to be, right? And so I need to accept the pain, accept the struggle, push past it, and keep going and not stop.
No, you can't.
You know?
You can't. And you know what? Enjoy the journey too.
I do.
Oh, good. Because like,
I enjoy my journey.
Every single, because like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not so, you don't want to be so focused on the end. And that's why sometimes people.
Yeah, you cannot focus
Like,
on the end.
Just say, like, just trying to get, like, I'm going to be happy. And I posted so many times in
Yes.
so many different ways. Like, don't wait till you lose the weight to be happy.
No, no,
don't
no.
wait till you get to this to be happy. Just be happy.
It's in the
now.
journey.
Like, oh gosh, yes,
Yeah.
I enjoy it. So I'm a minister. And I remember I used to preach at my church, and I remember preaching this sermon about the middle, right? Because everybody, like, they know the start and they want to get to the end,
Yes.
but nobody wants to be in the middle.
The middle is the tough part.
But the middle is important.
Yes.
Like, the middle is important because that's the middle where, you know, that little med school kid turns into a world famous surgeon.
Yep.
You know, the middle is where Teranie turns into, you know, a wife, a coach, a mother, you know, and
Yeah.
all of that. Like, the middle. So at the end, you can, you know, the experience, you've lived through this, you have battle scars, you know, things like that. Like, so I want the middle.
Yes.
I'm enjoying the middle, and the middle takes up a lot more than the end. I truly believe. So if I spend the entire middle being unhappy and wishing for the end, I've just wished my whole life away.
Yes, and you've wasted
So
the gift.
many times.
The gift, you know,
Yeah.
I say today is a gift,
Every
right?
day is a gift.
Every day is a gift, and I say, you know, God woke me up today. He opened up my eyes
Hallelujah.
today. There's lots of people around the world that did not wake up today.
Like Tina Turner.
Ah,
Tina Turner.
Yes.
Like, she passed today.
Oh.
Yeah. Like,
I
that
haven't
was
been on
like,
social
like,
media
oh, okay,
today.
like, oh,
I don't
okay,
even know
like,
what's going on
okay,
social
Look at
media.
me breaking the news here.
I'm like
yeah,
Tina
like,
Turner.
I was like, yeah, like Tina Turner, like she 83, lived
Ah,
a, you
she
know,
lived
like,
a full
she was an
life.
icon, a legend, you know, things like that. But like, you
Yeah.
know, I'm sure she wanted to live longer, right? And I was like, it was early. I was like checking. I was posted in my stories like, meet me at 5, and it was like I saw it. It was like Tina Turner's passed away, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's so sad.
Yeah,
You
she's
know,
on
it's
to the
like,
next phase.
on to the next phase of her life. So I
Yeah.
want to enjoy every single moment of
Yeah.
my life. So-
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I feel like if I passed away today,
yeah.
I'm very fulfilled.
Oh, that's
You know,
awesome.
I'm very fulfilled.
That's
and
awesome.
That's the question I ask myself every day. If I die today,
Yeah.
am I happy?
Yeah.
And the truth is that I can say, by no means is my life perfect.
No.
Right? It is far,
No,
far
not
from
at
it.
all.
Right? There's a lot of problems and
Girl.
things, right? I'm not exempt from problems.
Nobody is.
Painful things that are happening in my life,
Absolutely.
right? But I do not let those things consume me.
You can't.
Right? I acknowledge it. Yes, there's a problem. Yes, this is a situation. Yes, this is what we're doing about it. But that is not my life. That's not my entire life. There's
No.
other components to
It's
it.
just a part of it.
Right? It's just a part of it. And so being able to compartmentalize things
Yeah.
is so helpful.
Yeah.
And it keeps me present. It allows me to, you know, last year I lost my brother. He passed
So
away.
sorry to hear that.
And that was that's my sibling. That's my other half.
condolences.
That's who I arrived in this Worcester with,
Oh,
you
okay.
know, and I don't have a big family.
Yeah.
You know, so my mom that's all she had was
Two.
him, just us two. And when he passed away, it felt like an entire half of me was gone.
Yeah.
And I was so shocked. I had never had someone so close to me pass away. You know, you hear friends or uncles or aunts or this or that, but like a sibling,
yeah.
your only sibling, like it was so painful. And I had to plan his funeral because
Yeah.
my mom was completely devastated,
Yeah.
totally disassociated. And I had to be a support system for my family. While I was pregnant,
And
I was
grieving.
and trying. I was 9 months pregnant, and I was trying to keep all my composure when I got the
Yeah.
call from the EMTs, and I drove to my mom's. I literally, his body was on the ground, and I laid with him for an hour. You know, he was gone, and it was the most painful thing that I've ever experienced. But I got up. Oh, I get emotional just talking about it.
It's
And
okay. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
And
I'm so
but I said, you know what? Now I have a responsibility. I have an even greater responsibility to my mom, to my family, right? I was like, all right, your journey has ended, but I'm gonna continue. You know, he was like my mom's biggest support. Like he was there with her all the time. You know, where I was off to college, I was off doing my thing. And then I was like, all right, Teranie, now you need to come back from everything you're doing, and you need to be here for mom and dad and for your family and plan this funeral. And while being pregnant, controlling my emotions, right? So it's about the journey. I'm like, God, what are you teaching me right now during this painful thing, right? What can I take from this? And I took life is short.
Yeah.
Life is short. You know, I remember my brother, before he passed, one of the things he said to me was that he had a lot of regrets about not achieving the things he wanted to achieve. You know, not doing pursuing the life he wanted, right? Because he felt judged by others. And he felt there was obstacles against him, and he didn't know how to overcome them. You know? And those words, I never forgot about that, because there's a lot of people living today that are not pursuing what they want, that are in depression, in anxiety, in this dark place because they feel stuck, right? And so for me, I was like, you know what? Even more, I have to do Empowerment Live. I have to get out there. And I did. I continued Empowerment Live all throughout that pain. Nobody knew. And I did it because I was like, you know what? If I can empower one person, if I can like save one person, like that means everything, you know? At least I'm helping one person. And so there was that moment, that tragic moment taught me a lot of things. It taught me that in the middle of chaos, in the middle of pain, God can still work with you, inside of you, to get you through that storm.
Absolutely.
You know? And as I was picking out a gravesite, and as I was picking out a casket, as I was picking out his clothes, all I could hang on to was God. I was like, God, just help me get through this one moment, right? And I learned to deal with life one moment at a time.
Amen.
One moment at a time. And I teach that to everybody that I encounter. I'm like, don't let everything fall on top of you like bricks. Don't say, you know, I have no support from family. This is happening, and that I lost my job, and my husband left me. Don't think about all the bad things, right? Because it's just going to drown you. It's going to drown you. You have to focus on the good. Right? For me, I said, you know what? My brother is no longer in pain. He was really sick before he passed, right? So he's no longer in pain. That right there, I'm happy that he's no longer in pain. Yeah. Right? That's a good thing. You know, there's other situations that have happened in life that I'm like, you know what? There's a little shine of light that's coming through that situation. Let me grab that and bask in that light instead of the darkness. Absolutely. Right? And it's our choice.
It is.
It's our choice, right? So I teach people on my show, on Empowerment Live, whenever I talk, whenever I speak, I always teach people, you have a choice. You can either focus on the crappy stuff that's happening in your life and say, you know, dive deep into the poor me mentality, and you can do that, but you're not helping yourself. You're only hurting yourself more.
Absolutely.
Right? Or you can say, all right, what is good about this?
What can I learn?
What can I learn? You never lose when you look at life in a position of I'm either growing and winning or I'm learning, right? that was a lesson that happened to me. You know, going through that experience was a lesson. And I have to always remember that. If I get a flat tire, what's my lesson? You know, I wanted to get a tattoo
That's a great
that would
philosophy
say,
to have, though.
what is the lesson?
What is the lesson?
What is the lesson
That is a
in
great philosophy.
every situation?
Because there is a lesson in every situation, and you know, you can, like you said, you can focus on the negative, or you can focus on, you know, the good pieces of it. And you know, I try to do something similar, like, you know, I call it like my pro-con list or things like that. Like when something's not going my way, I was like, okay, God, what do you have in store for me that's bigger than this? Because I know something is bigger. And, you know, I have so many blessings, you know, like, you know, my relationship with my husband, my relationship with my kids, you know, the people that I've connected with and, you know, and met over the last year, you know, I'm walking in my purpose every day. And, you know, there's so many just amazing things that are in my life. And like you said, you know, and meeting someone like you or is just so inspiring. And, you know, just by everything that you do. And I love everything that you do.
Thank
but,
you.
You know, it's like, it helps me to see, you know, women like you know, living in your purpose and your passion and, you know, growing and evolving, you know, like every single day, because you're right. Your life isn't perfect. My life isn't perfect. And folks, when they see us talk sometimes, they'll say like, well, you know, like maybe if I had money like them, or if my life was perfect like them. That's not it at all. But it's just like, I am choosing to revel in the goodness of God. I am choosing to revel in the good things that are in my life, like the relationships, and, you know, and then there are other bad elements in my life. There are tough elements in my life, you know, but you know what, at the end of the day, I won't let it consume me. I can't let it consume me, because it is like, as you learn, unfortunately, like life is short. Life is precious, and we have to learn to grab it every single day and just say thank you, God. For waking me up.
Every day I wake up and there's this woman. So one of my friends, I met this person, Dee. Shout out to Dee, Devin Gunn. She's an author, and I met her at a networking event that I happened to go to. And she was there, and we hit it off right away. And we became really good friends. That year, we traveled the world. We went everywhere, and we built such a great relationship.
I love that.
She inspired me to write this book.
Because I was gonna say, we're not leaving without talking about this. So let's talk about this.
Yeah, she inspired me to write this book, which this is a draft. That's why there's a line across
there's like
it.
not for real sales and whatever. So
but
a photographer will capture it.
So you know, I'm still working on the sizing of the book and everything. But she inspired me to write this book, and you know, I remember her looking at me and saying, "You should write a story about your experiences." And I was like, "Oh man, I didn't want to share my personal. I post a lot, and I share things. I don't share all the details of my life.
We kind of hold back.
We hold back a lot.
We do.
We do.
Folks don't realize it, but
And so I was like, I'm not comfortable talking about my life in a book. And she was like, no, like, you know, try. And so I was on a flight, and it was a long flight. I think I was going to California or something. And I said, you know what, I'm going to take this flight to write the book. And I literally wrote the book during the flight.
Oh, wow.
I did. And I made it into like, it's
like
Michael
Jackson.
It was, I made it into a workbook.
Oh, I love it.
And the reason for this book called Island Girl Mindfulness.
Island Girl Mindfulness,
yes. I actually, Dee was there during that photo shoot. This was in Punta Cana.
Oh,
Dominican
I love Punta Cana. Girl, I've been there so many times. I love Punta Cana.
I love Punta Cana.
Yes.
We went there specifically for my birthday to celebrate it and to do the photo shoot. And so that was a couple years back. And, you know, for those of you that maybe don't know, when I was 18, I was going to school studying psychology, and then I got a job, you know, working in mental health. So I became a counselor, got my degrees, all that stuff. And a big part of my life in my 20s was being a counselor. I was a mental health counselor. That was my job. And being a counselor in this city in Worcester, you know, I worked in group homes. So if you guys don't know what a group home is, it's where, you know, there could be like drug addiction related group homes, and then there could be like mental health group homes. So I worked in both. And I worked with patients that were schizophrenic, patients that had bipolar, all kinds of disorders. I also worked in a crisis stabilization unit at Community Health Link for a long time. where people would have breakdowns, and it would be my job to stabilize them and give them meds and all this stuff, right? And then I worked towards the end of my career in psychology. I worked with drug addiction, so people that were struggling with drug addiction, and that was the most humbling experience I have ever had in my life. It rocked my world, and it really gave me a perspective on humanity, because there is a whole side of humanity that is unnoticed and that is unseen. And people struggling with drug addiction, it could be pills, it could be anything, right? I would take them to AA meetings every day. So a big part of my 20s I spent in church basements, going to AA meetings to bring my clients to them, to NA meetings, so I know like every church and where all the meetings are, and listening to their stories, listening to what happened in their childhood that caused this. You know, a lot of times there's something that happened, some traumatic event that caused this, that maybe the person didn't have the support, the coping skills, you know, whatever it was that caused this, and now it's affecting the rest of their lives, where people are, you know, in a really dark place. And so I learned a lot about humanity. You know, when you're listening to, you know, women that have to sell their bodies on Main Street, and you listen to the stories, and you see their scars, and they open their heart to you, it does something to you.
It does.
And so all those stories, I carry them with me in my heart. I'll never forget any of my clients' stories. But my job was to help them get better. And to get out of that situation, to get an apartment, all of that. And it's so awesome being able to walk through Worcester and encounter my clients from the past that have been able to reestablish their lives, that will give me a hug and will be like, Teranie, thank you for being my counselor back then. And right? And
that's
so
amazing.
It's so like you cry.
You do.
Because you're doing God's work. And like in my 20s, I was like, I didn't capture how impactful that was, the work that I was doing, right? Because you're young, you don't really capture it until afterwards.
You see it.
You see it, right? And so with journeys and with life, I've learned to understand that I may not understand what God is doing right now in my life. I'm okay with it now. You know what I'm saying? I'm okay with it. Oh, sorry. I'm okay with it now because I know that He is guiding me.
Amen now.
He is. And when I look back and I can connect the dots, because you can only connect the dots backwards. It's very hard to connect them.
Because you don't know. You hope, but you can't put it forward because you don't know.
You don't know, right? But you can connect the dots to your life and be like, wow, if I hadn't gone to that place, I wouldn't have met that person. I wouldn't have, right?
That's it.
And so when I look back at my life, I'm like, all right, have I helped people? That's the question that when I die, I want to say, have I helped people? Has my life been only about me, or have I been helping people all along the whole time? And my answer is yes, I have been helping people all along.
Amen.
All along. And to me, I'm at peace with that.
I love that. Like, you're gonna have to come back on the show because we've run out of time, and like, there's just
so much.
There's just so much to talk about. So you're definitely gonna come back on the show because we have to finish up.
Once the book is out, the book is not out yet.
The book is not out yet, so it's Island Girl Mindfulness. So follow her, Teranie Tirado, on Facebook and Instagram. So you find out when the book is coming out, where we can get the book, and all that. And there's two things I want to talk about before we wrap up. So I know that we're out of time, but I want to talk about Boss Babe.
Yes.
You know, what is Boss Babe?
Yes. So Boss Babes, you know, Boss Babe Tribe. I have a group on Facebook. It's called the Boss Babes Tribe. And I started that like around the pandemic as a way to connect women that are entrepreneurs, that are creatives, that want to boss up, that they want to, you know, right? And they needed the tools and the resources in that community and support. And so I created that group. You know, we share different things. We share our events in the group. We support each other. I used to put together, at the start of the year, vision board parties. We would go out to cocktails in Boston. Like, we would do all this girl stuff, brunches,
yes.
you know, and that's how we got through things, you know? And so I created Boss Babes Tribe to really bring our community, the women in our community together and genuinely hang out. You know, I feel that entrepreneurs are very isolated.
It gets lonely.
It gets very lonely being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Nobody understands you. People think you're crazy. You know, you don't always get support. You know,
your hours are crazy.
Right? And so I was like, I need to find more people that are in my situation that I could relate to and that we can help each other. I could go to their events, they could come to my events, we can network, we could share tools.
Absolutely.
Software, resource. Hey, how did you do that? How did you figure that out? Hey, I have this problem. What do you think? Right? And supporting each other, and it's totally free. You know, I know everybody wants to charge for everything.
Yeah.
But not everything needs to be charged for.
No.
You know, and so I wanted to create a community that was totally free. You can ask anything, and we will answer.
I love that.
And so that's what the Boss Babes
That's
Tribe
what Boss Babes is. And how do they find Boss Babes? Or is it closed? Is it invitation only?
So you could put a request through Facebook. You
Okay.
can search Boss Babes Tribe Group, and you put in your request, and then, you know, I will vet the person, make sure, you know, they're cool, and
all right.
and then I approve it.
All right. So final question. So you've been talking so much. I've learned so much about what inspires you, you know, your faith, your mom, you know, your relationship, you know, losing your brother and just wanting to make an impact in life. But what motivates you to continue on this journey of yours?
My assignment. My assignment. Every single decision that I make in my life has to do with God. Every single decision, whether it's, you know, a job, whether it's a business deal, whether it's working with a client or not. I always, you know, make everything about God, and like that's my guidance. And I feel like, I truly feel like God, if He has poured so much into me, and I really feel like He has, you know, right?
Oh,
and
He has.
He has. And my husband reminds me all the time. He's like, you're so blessed, you don't even know it.
Now.
And I'm like, no, I know. I know I'm blessed. It didn't come just for being blessed. Like, He doesn't just bless like, oh, here you go.
Yeah.
Right? It also comes with the struggle.
A lesson,
right? And so if you're willing to go through the pain, then you'll get the blessing.
Get to the other
but
side.
you got to be willing to go through the pain to get the blessing.
Absolutely.
Right? And so for me, it's like I keep going every day. My kids are a big motivator. You know, my family is a big motivator. My mom is a big motivator for me. You know, I don't need cheerleaders behind me, but just their presence on this planet and me knowing that they're here.
Yeah.
I want to do everything that I can to leave things better.
Wow.
You know, I want to do, because otherwise, what am I doing? I can't, first of all, I can't sit down and watch TV for the life of me. Like, I can maybe take 30 minutes of it at night as I'm dozing off. But I don't have it in me to just lay on a beach all day and do nothing. I would feel, I mean, so.
I want to try it first, but I hear you.
I don't have it in me.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. My husband's like, you never stay still. I'm like, I know.
It's
God has poured so much energy into me.
That's lovely.
Right? So I'm like, if God has given me all this energy,
tools, I know.
all these ideas, all these tools, right?
For a reason.
For a reason.
For a reason.
It would be such a shame to just let it all go to waste.
Absolutely.
And do nothing.
Absolutely.
Right? And so it goes back to, no, I know there's a God. I know there's a purpose.
Amen.
I know there's a reason why I'm here. And I need to listen to that. I need to stay focused on. I cannot be focused on what the stock market is doing, what the real estate market is doing, what any of the problems on the news are happening. I have to focus on what am I doing to make things better around me and for the people around me.
I love it.
And if we all had that same mindset collectively,
oh my,
oof,
Could you imagine?
Could you imagine what we could accomplish?
Whew.
If
We
we're
could
all
move mountains, girl.
yes,
We could move mountains.
yes,
But
and
thank you.
That's what
God and your purpose.
God and my purpose.
I love
yes.
it. I love it. Well, thank you all for tuning in. I had such a remarkable time speaking to you. I learned so much.
Thank you
I
so much for
gained-
having me.
Anytime.
This
I
has
gained
been
so
awesome.
many pearls of wisdom just listening to you. I love to listen to
you.
other women, talk about their journey and what inspires them, what motivates them. And, it's funny, like the woman that I have on my show, like it ends up we all have similar traits, like, like God is the head of my life and, things like
Yeah.
that and believe in empowerment. Because, you know what? Light attracts light. And I
Absolutely.
feel like, if somebody's like negative and just likes negativity and all of that, like, they're not attracted to me. They're just gonna be like, yeah, I don't even want to be
Oh
around.
yeah, yeah,
They're like, I don't even want to be around
You
her.
attract who you are.
Exactly.
Hence why I'm here.
Exactly. God is just like, no, God just moves them out of our way.
Yes.
So I love that. I'm so glad you're on the show. I'm going to have you back on so we can talk about.
Thank you so much for
Oh,
having
you're
me.
welcome.
And thank you for having this show for the community. Like, we need more of this.
Absolutely.
And you're doing a service to
Well,
the
thank
community.
you. Similar to what you said, God has placed so much in me, and I have so many dreams and goals for this platform. And, God has been waking me up and telling me things, and I know the vision. I see the vision. I don't see the path yet, but I don't need to see the path because I see God.
Yeah.
I see God. So He
Yeah.
will create the path because
Yeah.
there is no vision without provision, right?
Yeah.
So He'll take care of the rest. So in the meantime, I'm just out here, girl, living my best life and cheering others on as they live their life.
Yes. As you move, the staircase will appear.
Absolutely, and that's truly what I believe. So I'm just grateful for God for everything that He continues to do in my life, in your life, and the people around me. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll be back next week with a brand new episode, and I'm so excited. But I'm going to ask Ms. Teranie just to end with a word of encouragement for our viewers tonight.
You're putting me on the
I've
spot.
never done that. But, listen, God, you got to end it.
Putting me on the spot.
I
Honestly, my word of encouragement for people is you may not have people supporting you, and that's okay. You may not have family supporting you. You may not have friends supporting you. You may be in a really, really dark place that feels like you have a ton of bricks on top of you. But trust me when I tell you, I've been there. I've been in that place it multiple times throughout life. And the thing that has pulled me out of that place is knowing that there is a God, knowing that God can lift me up, and using my power and lifting myself up and getting up and doing it when I don't want to do it, still showing up for life. On the days when I have tears in my eyes, when my brother passed, driving to the next business deal or job or whatever with tears in my eyes, right? Before a meeting, throwing up before a meeting because I was so emotional, but still showing up, right? When you do that, that's how you get out of the situation. But you have got to show up for yourself, for your purpose, and you have to show up for life.
All right. I love it. You heard it. You got to show up for your purpose, and you got to show up for life. So until next week, this is Suzanne and
Teranie.
say bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.